Goosebumps here, and I haven't done a book review in a while, so I thought I'd do a book review. And today's book review is on Werewolf Skin. Now, this is probably one of my favourite OG62 Goosebumps book that I've ever read. I rate it probably a 9 out of 10, or like a 4 out of 5, probably 4.5 out of 5, I would say. It's not perfect, but it's one of my favourite I've read from the OG62 at the moment. Definitely my favourite Goosebumps books I've read. But yeah, we'll see if anything can beat it. But I'll do a quick review on this now. There will be some spoilers in the second part, but I'll tell you when there's going to be spoilers. Basically, this book is about Alex, and his parents away for a while, and he really likes photography and stuff. So his parents send him off to a place called Wolf Creek, and his aunt lives there, and his uncle. So he stays with them. And they have 2 rules, and the rules are: don't go near their neighbour's house, or their neighbours are called the Marlings. Don't go near their house, and don't go in the woods when it gets dark. And Alex thinks this is pretty weird, but he just listens to it. And his auntie says, there's some kids in town that you might like. So she gets him to meet with this girl, Hannah, and they go and look in the woods, because it's daytime. And in the woods they meet 2 like nasty bullies, I'm pretty sure. One of them is called Arjun, and one of them's, I can't remember what the other one is called. But they're not very nice, they're known to not be very nice, and they try to take his camera off him. And Hannah and him, they manage to get them away, and he goes back to his house. And he realises in the night, when he can't find his camera, he left his camera in the woods. So he goes into the woods, and he can hear animals fighting, and he can hear shrieks and screams and stuff, and the animals like struggling and stuff. So he goes, and he sees like tattered animal, like bits of animals' flesh and stuff on the floor. And he can see footprints. Well, not footprints, like paw prints from a werewolf. And he follows it, and he goes back to the Marling's house, and he just looks at the Marling house for a bit, and it's just quiet, and there's nothing there, but there's paw prints leading up to the house. And anyway, so the next day, his aunt tells him that he can't be spying on the Marling's house, because they've told them that he has been. So he says sorry, and he goes to school. And in school, the teacher starts a lesson about werewolves. He starts talking about them. And he says werewolves, they don't just transform when it's a full moon. They have a skin that they put on, but they have to take it off in the daytime so people don't see them. And the 2 bullies come up to him, and they say, okay, you don't believe in werewolves, do you? And Alex says no. And then they say, okay, we'll meet us in the woods tonight. So he meets them in the woods. He goes, okay, I'll meet you in the woods. And he goes back home and everything, gets ready, waits till everyone's asleep, and he goes to unlock the door to go out to go into the woods, but he realises his door's locked and there's bars on his window. And he finds this really strange. Like, why would they do that? And he sees 2 people exiting the Marley's house, and he's like, okay, that's really weird, why are there people moving around and stuff? And he hears stuff from the woods. So the next morning he asks his aunt, why are there locks on my door and stuff? And she goes, it's just because we for your own safety, because the Marlins called the police and everything. So he thinks this is pretty strange, because he hasn't seen any activity in the Marlins' house. It seems all quiet and everything, but he doesn't really think much of it. So the next day, it turns out the bullies never actually went into the woods. They never went there, it was all just a trick. But they don't know that he didn't go. So he tells them, I actually took a photograph of a werewolf. And they don't really believe him, they just kind of shake it off, And so the next day, he's like, okay, there's something weird happening, I need to see what's happening. So he wedges the lock in the door so that it can't properly lock. So when his aunt and uncle go out to photograph things in the woods, he manages to sneak out as well. And as he's looking, he sees 2 figures going into the woods as well. And he can see that they're werewolves, and he follows them throughout the night. And he follows these werewolves and takes loads of pictures of them. And as he gets back to his house, his aunt and uncle get back around the same time. And he sees them, and they start transforming. And turns out his aunt and uncle are actually the werewolves. It's got into spoilers now. And he sees them shedding their skin, and they go into the Marling's house, and they put their skins, and they hide them in the Marling's house. And he's really shocked by this. And his aunt and uncle actually see him, but they don't say anything because they don't know at the moment. They've been figured out. So he explains this to Hannah, his friend, and he's like, Hannah, it's Halloween at this point as well. Of course it is. And he's like, Hannah, we have to do something about this. My aunt and uncle are werewolves. So she goes, okay, remember what the teacher said, they have their skins, they need them to transform. So if we take the skins off them, then they won't be able to transform and the curse will be gone. So what they do is they go to the Marling's house on Halloween night and they take the skins away and they carry the skins and they go off into the streets and just start running away with them. And his aunt and uncle start chasing after them and suddenly they just start screaming and they're on the floor, you know, and all of a sudden they're fine. And the curse is broken. They're no longer werewolves. They don't need their werewolf skins anymore. So all four of them walk back to the house and they're all happy. And Hannah and Alex go back into the Marling's house to put the werewolf skins away and they hide them. So as he's hiding them under the bed, he looks in the closet across from him and he sees another werewolf skin. And he's like, that's really weird. Why is there 3 werewolf skins? And then Hannah turns around to him and says, you know, I never actually needed to take those werewolf skins from your aunt and uncle because I always had my own. So, yeah. And he's like, so you're a werewolf? And she's like, yeah. I know, it's a plot twist. What can I say? I liked it, though, because the suspense really built up to that bit. And it was good. I didn't expect it either. And turns out Hannah was actually a werewolf. And she has her own werewolf skin. And probably one of the biggest, most brutal cliffhangers in Goosebumps. The last bit is... I'll read it to you in a minute once I've got past it. She jumps on him and bites him, and then it just ends. The book ends like that. I'll read the exact page. Here we go. I let out a startled cry and turned to Hannah. How can there be a werewolf skin in here, I asked. There were only 2 of them, right? You put on one, and you gave one to me. Hannah stepped up beside me. Her eyes locked on mine. I didn't wear the one from this house, Alex, she said softly. I didn't need to use one. I used my own. I just got it last night. Huh? I cried. I don't get it. You will, she whispered. She knocked me to the floor with her heavy forepaws and sank her teeth into my chest. Pretty brutal. But yeah, the book ends with literally her just attacking him and probably her ending up turning Alex into a werewolf as well. But she wasn't a werewolf the entire book. She just got it when, I'm guessing she got it at some point in the book, if the werewolf bit her at some point. There's not really a specific timeline to when it happened, but she said last night, so it was probably the night before. But yeah, my opinion might change on this book, but at the moment it's probably around a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this book. Reading it is a lot easier than explaining it. I found it really difficult. I've been looking at descriptions on the wiki of this book. I've had to skim through the book because it's really difficult to explain because so many of the same things kind of happen. And when you're saying it, it sounds kind of boring, but when you're actually reading it, I actually found it quite interesting. But yeah, it took a while to remember what happened in this book because I read it a while ago. So if I missed a few things out, I'm sorry, but that's vaguely what happened. And I think I went pretty good into detail. But yeah, it sounds boring, but I really enjoyed it. Again, a lot of books, when you actually read them, it's better than someone giving a review because you can kind of make your own decision upon it and you can read it in a way that you read it and make up characters' voices in your head and stuff decide what they, when you're reading it, it just makes it better than watching a review. But yeah, I still give this a 4.5 out of 5. The characters I really liked. I really liked that the aunt and uncle linked to the Marlings. And the Marlings weren't even actual characters in the end. I really like the forest aspect. I love any books like that, like camp books that are set in the forest. I really enjoy those kind of books. So I really enjoyed that as well, that part of it. And I really enjoyed Hannah as a character was really good. She didn't really play a main part in the book until the end. But then when she did play a part in the book, it was like a big part because it was like a massive, really brutal cliffhanger. So that was really cool. Alex, he's not the best main character. He's not the worst. He doesn't really do much, but he's pretty cool. He likes photography, stuff like that. And I guess that does help link into some of the story as well. Like how why he wanted to go into the woods and stuff like that and take photos. And that was kind of cool. And I liked how they used a different sort of werewolf story, because I know some werewolf stories can just literally be, full moon this, full moon that. I like the idea of a werewolf skin. That concept was really cool as well. But yeah, I guess the only thing that people might not like about it is there's a lot of repeating. So there's a lot of, oh, he went into the woods, he went into the woods again, he went into the woods again. I think that repeats like 3 times, but the way it's written doesn't make it boring for me. But I guess I understand why that would be boring. But yeah, that is my review on Werewolf Skin, and I hope that everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for more reviews.